For a lot of people who struggle with addiction, the addiction is there before the drugs come in. There's certainly plenty of people who in their teenage years or in their early 20s experiment with drugs who don't become addicted. For me, this addiction started very early. At the age of 8, in the middle of a panic attack, which at the time I didn't know was a panic attack, I reached for a bottle of pills that was in our medicine cabinet. It had been there a long time. It was an expired bottle of painkillers, which I didn't know what they were at the time. I just knew that there was a label on there that said may cause drowsiness, and I wanted that drowsiness. So that was the first time that I reached for a drug. From that point forward, I would pilfer pills from the medicine cabinets of my friends' parents, from relatives. And when I was 13 and adolescence was hitting, I tried heroin for the first time with my boyfriend. I relapsed, I don't even know how many times. I relapsed constantly. And I, at 28 years old, became pregnant, and it wasn't a planned pregnancy. Against all better judgment, I decided to have the baby, and I was using at the time. I found a doctor who was willing to detox me, because at the time what the protocol was to put pregnant women on methadone maintenance. Yeah. I think that it's difficult, especially for people who haven't struggled with addiction, to understand why you can't just say no, or if you have negative consequences continually, why you can't stop. I think there are a couple of reasons. Obviously, with opiates like heroin, there's a physical dependency that occurs, which while you're in active addiction drives the addiction. But you wonder why people keep relapsing. There is what I call a shame cycle that happens. And this doesn't just happen with addiction, but this happens with all sorts of sort of self-destructive behaviors, where we have these belief systems about ourselves that often are formed when we're very young, that we're not good enough, that if people really saw who we were, that they wouldn't love us. That's sort of that base primal fear that if people knew this X factor, they wouldn't love me. I think that, at the baseline of all of this is that we have globally a mental health system from country to country that is not very effective, and that we need to be looking at the mental health and well-being of people as equally important as their physical well-being.